6 months ago, I stood in Home Depot, staring at a simple wooden shelf that cost $250. $250 for 6 pieces of wood and some screws. That's when I realized something that changed everything. Was paying someone else's markup for something I could easily build myself for less than $40. That moment sparked a journey that saved me over $8,000 in furniture costs and given me a skill that will pay dividends for the rest of my life. But more importantly, it taught me that building anything from wood isn't about talent or years of experience. It's about understanding a simple system that works for every single project. Most people look at a beautiful piece of furniture and think it requires some kind of magical woodworking gene. They see the finished product and assume it's complicated. But here's what nobody tells you. Every piece of furniture, from a simple box to an elaborate dining room set, is built using the exact same fundamental principles. Think about it like this. When you learned to drive, you didn't start with different techniques for every car manufacturer. The gas pedal, brake, and steering wheel work the same whether you're driving a Honda or a Mercedes. Woodworking is exactly the same. Master the basic techniques, and you can build anything. The problem is that most beginners try to jump into complex projects without understanding these fundamentals. It's like trying to perform surgery when you've never taken an anatomy class. You're setting yourself up for frustration, wasted money, and projects that end up as expensive firewood. I learned this lesson the hard way with my first project. I decided to build a coffee table without any real plan or understanding of basic techniques. I spent $300 on materials, worked every weekend for a month, and ended up with something that looked like it was assembled during an earthquake. The legs were different heights. The top had gaps you could fit a pencil through, and the whole thing wobbled so much it was dangerous to put anything on it. My wife diplomatically suggested we use it as a plant stand in the garage, which is code for this thing is hideous and I never want to see it again. That failure taught me something crucial. I needed a systematic approach, a proven method that would work for any project, regardless of complexity. After studying how professional woodworkers approach their craft, I discovered what I call the Universal Building Framework. This framework has 4 phases that apply to every successful woodworking project: plan, prepare, build, and finish. Whether you're making a birdhouse or a bedroom set, these phases remain constant. The only difference is scale and complexity. Let me show you exactly how this works, because once you understand this system, you'll never look at a piece of furniture the same way again. The planning phase is where most people either succeed or fail before they even touch a piece of wood. You need complete clarity on 3 things. What exactly are you building? What are the precise dimensions? And what's your material budget? Without this clarity, you're just guessing your way through the project. Here's a real example from last month. I needed storage for my home office, but everything I found online was either too expensive or the wrong size for my space. Instead of saying, I need some shelves, I got specific. I need 3 floating shelves, each 4 feet long and 10 inches deep, capable of holding 50 pounds each, and they need to match the existing wood trim in my office. That specificity changed everything. Instead of wandering around the lumberyard trying to figure out what I needed, I had exact measurements and requirements. I knew exactly what materials to buy and how much the project would cost before I spent a single dollar. The preparation phase is where you transform raw materials into ready-to-assemble components. This means cutting all pieces to final dimensions, drilling all necessary holes, and completing all sanding before you start assembly. Think of it like meal prep. Professional chefs prepare all ingredients before they start cooking because once the process begins, everything needs to flow smoothly. Most beginners skip this step and try to cut pieces as they go. This leads to mistakes, poor measurements, and projects that take 3 times longer than necessary. But when you prepare properly, the actual building becomes almost automatic. For those office shelves I mentioned, I spent an entire Saturday cutting, drilling, and sanding. It felt like I wasn't making progress because I didn't have anything assembled yet. But the next day, I went from raw wood to finished shelves in under 3 hours because everything was ready. The building phase is where your preparation pays off. If you've planned correctly and prepped thoroughly, assembly should feel like putting together a puzzle where all the pieces fit perfectly. No scrambling for tools, no last-minute trips to the hardware store, no discovering you cut something wrong. The finishing phase separates amateur work from professional results. This is where you sand everything to final smoothness, apply stain or paint, and add hardware. Most people rush this step because they're excited to see the finished product. But the difference between something that looks homemade and something that looks store-bought is almost always in the finishing details. Those office shelves I built ended up looking like they came from a high-end furniture store. The total cost was $67, and comparable shelves would have cost over $400 retail. More importantly, they fit my space perfectly because I designed them specifically for my needs. This same system scales for any project. I've used it to build everything from simple picture frames to a complete kitchen island. The phases remain the same. just with more or fewer components and varying complexity. The tools you need are much simpler than you think. I built my first 15 projects with just 5 tools: a circular saw for cutting, a drill for holes and screws, a random orbital sander for smooth surfaces, a tape measure for accuracy, and a speed square for keeping cuts straight. You don't need a full workshop or thousands of dollars in equipment. I started in my one-car garage with tools I bought used from Facebook Marketplace. The total investment was under $200. And those same tools are still the foundation of my workshop today. Here's what most people don't realize. Tools don't make you a better woodworker. Knowledge and technique do. I've seen people with $20,000 workshops produce terrible results because they never learned the fundamentals. Meanwhile, I've watched skilled craftsmen create beautiful pieces with basic hand tools. The key is understanding wood as a material. Wood moves with changes in humidity. It has grain direction that affects how it cuts and how strong it is. Different species have different characteristics and uses, but you don't need to become a lumber expert overnight. Start with common construction, lumber like pine or poplar. These woods are forgiving, affordable, and available everywhere. Learn how they behave, practice your techniques, then expand to other species as your confidence grows. The biggest mistake beginners make is attempting projects that are too complex for their current skill level. It's like trying to run a marathon when you've never jogged around the block. Start with simple projects that teach fundamental skills, then gradually increase complexity. I always recommend starting with a basic storage box. It teaches every skill you'll need for larger projects: accurate measuring, straight cutting, proper drilling, strong joints, and smooth finishing. Once you can build a perfect box, you can build anything because every piece of furniture is essentially boxes connected in different configurations. A bookshelf is a box with horizontal dividers. A dresser is multiple boxers stacked together. A dining table is an upside-down box with legs. When you start seeing furniture this way, complexity disappears and you begin recognizing the simple patterns underneath. The confidence boost from completing your first successful project is incredible. There's something deeply satisfying about creating something useful and beautiful with your own hands. But beyond personal satisfaction, you're developing a skill that will save you thousands of dollars over the years. Every piece I've built serves a specific purpose that store-bought furniture couldn't address. That kitchen island I mentioned earlier has custom-sized drawers for my specific cookware. The coffee table in my living room has hidden storage for board games. My workbench has tool storage designed around the exact tools I own. These aren't features you can buy in a store. They're custom solutions that make your home more functional while reflecting your personal style. And needs. The learning curve is gentler than you think. Each project builds on skills from previous ones. The storage box teaches basic joinery. The bookshelf adds structural considerations. The coffee table introduces more complex assembly. Before you know it, you're tackling projects that seemed impossible when you started. Having access to detailed plans and professional guidance accelerates this learning process dramatically. When I started, I wasted countless hours trying to figure things out through trial and error. Detailed instructions, cut lists, and professional tips would have saved me months of frustration and hundreds of dollars in wasted materials. That's why I'm excited to share something that could transform your woodworking journey from the very beginning. There's an incredible collection of over 16,000 detailed woodworking plans that covers everything from simple beginner projects to advanced furniture making. These aren't basic sketches, they're complete blueprints with step-by-step instructions, exact material lists, and professional techniques that ensure success on every project. This resource includes plans, specifically designed for beginners, with projects that teach fundamental skills while creating useful items for your home. The progression is logical, building your confidence and abilities with each completed project. The link to access this comprehensive collection is in the description below. If you're serious about learning to build anything from wood, this resource will give you the roadmap to success while avoiding the costly mistakes that trip up most beginners. Building things from wood isn't about having special talent or expensive equipment. It's about understanding proven principles and applying them systematically. Plan thoroughly, prepare completely, build carefully, and finish with attention to detail. Start with projects that teach fundamental skills. Practice those skills until they become automatic, then gradually take on more challenging builds. Focus on accuracy over speed, embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, and celebrate every completed project as a step forward. Most importantly, enjoy the journey. There's something magical about transforming raw lumber into something beautiful and functional. It connects you to thousands of years of human craftsmanship while giving you practical skills that will serve you for life. Your first project might not be perfect, and that's completely normal. Neither was mine. But with each build, you'll get better, more confident, and more creative. Eventually, you'll be the person others come to for advice. Wondering why you ever thought woodworking was complicated? The skills you develop will save you money, give you creative satisfaction, and allow you to create exactly what you need, rather than settling for what's available in stores. Click that link in the description to access those detailed plans and start building anything you can imagine today.